Link FM, as well as our local listeners that are in the surrounding areas. Now, I hope you are well, folks, and you survived a very, very warm weekend. It has got a little bit cooler. Thank goodness for that. And it's made me feel a lot more comfortable because I think it gets a little bit sticky, wouldn't you say? I don't know how you've all been coping in the heat, but always stay in the shade and always make sure that you're topping up your fluids as well, and keep an eye on your elderly neighbours, and if there are any pets that you have, keep them in the shade too. But as always, I like to give a bit of a weather report, don't I, on the show? I think it's going to be about 22 degrees today. But as well as the weather report, I also like to share what day it is. And today, believe it or not, folks, it's National Porridge Day. Have you had your porridge this morning? Now, porridge might be considered by some people to be the ultimate comfort food. And I went off it for a while. I have to say, I'm back on the porridge, but I prefer kind of like overnight oats, and I like to put pistachios and some flaxseed, and I like it with some shredded apple. Gosh, it sounds super bougie, doesn't it? But yeah, it's nice. Overnight oats are lovely. But did you know that porridge actually finds its roots in a wide variety of human civilizations, from Asia to Europe to the Americas? Porridge touches people all over the globe. So I'm asking you guys, what did you have for this morning? Food is the theme for Monday, folks. I don't know if you recall hearing, I did interview a wonderful sister called Sadia. Well, the Sunday brunch show with Sadia will be releasing shortly, inshallah. It will be a Sunday at 3 p.m. where Sister Sadia will be having great conversations and giving us some culinary delights and cooking recipes. And those recipes will be shared on Facebook as well. And you'll get to see her cooking the wonderful dishes. So that's something to look forward to. And that is a new show called Sunday Brunch with Sister Sadia, 3 p.m. on Sunday. Check it out on Facebook when that is actually releasing. I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. And I think I've had the pleasure of seeing snippets of the show. And I think what's really nice about Sister Sadia's show is she's having lots of conversations with community members and their journey of coming to Luton and the experiences that the sisters have had starting from scratch. So it's going to be very, very inspiring. Now, the show that you're listening to is not a cooking show, it's the Urban Kube. And the Urban Kube is all about sharing creative conversations with trailblazing Muslims, and we explore arts and lifestyle, talking to them about the projects that they're involved in, their creative passions, and how they can kind of get us a little bit more creative ourselves. And it's a real motivating show. Now, on today's show, I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by Sara Russell. Now, she's a freelance documentary photographer and artivist, and she's going to be talking to us today about why artivism plays an important role in social change. And we're going to be exploring human engagement in seeking liberation. Quite a fitting topic, especially with what is happening around the world today. And the wonderful thing about Sister Sara is she has documented some extraordinary images from the Palestinian protests. She's been to Palestine, she's photographed there, she's been to Iran, she's photographed there. She has photographed an ample number of protests for Gaza. And so the conversation with her today is going to be really interesting. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, what does artivism actually mean? Well, artivism is a blend of art and activism. Now, this plays a powerful role in social change because it uses creative expression to challenge dominant narratives. And actually, it raises awareness and inspires actions. And it's something that really inspires me. So I'm absolutely delighted to be speaking to no other than Sara Russell. She is joining us by StreamYard. So you'll get to see her on camera. I can't see her right now. I'm hoping she's in the background somewhere, inshallah. And we will be joining her very, very shortly. You can actually catch the conversation on Facebook as well, folks. If you want to leave any comments, feel free to do so. The telephone number or the WhatsApp number to the show is 07779 481822 if you'd like to join in with any of the conversations. It will be wonderful to hear from you. And, have you had your porridge this morning? What's your breakfast this morning? Be great to find out. And yeah, I can hear some sounds in the background. I don't know if that is Sara. Assalamu alaikum, Sara. No, she can't hear me. Let me pop on my Sara, can you hear me?
I can. So can you hear me?
Fabulous. Now it is quite faint, Sara, so I don't know if you've got your volume up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. It's cutting out a little bit, Sara. So I don't know if you want to put the camera on, and I don't know if that's going to help, but
I've got my camera on, so I can see myself.
You can see yourself. Okie doke. We'll get somebody to help us on that end. But I just want to say, Assalamu alaikum. How are you, my dear?
Alaikum salam. Thank you for putting us on the show, Shemiza. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. You're a little louder, which is great. I've been told it possibly is your Wi-Fi or it's your mic.
Okay, let me go outside.
Okay, and you're a little louder, so that's great.
Okay.
What's the weather like?
Yeah, the weather is a little overcast today, but alhamdulillah, it's good here. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, I can. That's brilliant. Thank you for doing that for me. Are you in London or are you in Bournemouth?
I'm in Bournemouth currently.
Yeah. So Bournemouth, the perfect place to be because it's near the sea. So the weather must be absolutely luscious down there.
It's actually by the sea. It can be quite quite breezy at times, but it's actually it is beautiful. As in the seaside and nature around here is quite it's a blessing to be around. So it's accessible to us, so it's can't be taken for granted. That's for sure.
Indeed, and it's lovely to hear that. Now, Sara, thank you so much for joining us this morning and giving me your time. It's an absolute pleasure to be in your company as always. And I was asking everybody, I'm wondering what you had for breakfast because it's National Porridge Day. Are you a fan of porridge?
Yeah, I used to have porridge when I was, I think, younger, but nowadays I think I just don't really have like a particular breakfast. I may have just like a banana or a fruit or something. That's what I had this morning anyway.
Well, that's nutritional and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Now, nutrition, art, activism, it all goes hand in hand. Brain nutrition, right? To do the work that you do. Now, you are a freelance documentary photographer and artivist. Could you share with our listeners this morning, I mean, what is a documentary photographer?
So one of the main things that I find that has always shaped the way, the way we kind of it inspires us as stories. So storytelling is quite a very important part of our life, where we always have from even childhood we tell stories to our children, and there's lessons in them. So when it comes to the observing things and looking into particular stories, be them human stories, there is something that resonates, because in the end, much of us are looking for guidance. We're looking for answers to very core sort of questions we have in life, like our purpose and what we're meant to be doing in the moment, in this time that we're here. And so there's kind of this natural kind of inquiry into, or even sort of a curiosity that we have to look into things that inspire us, really, things that draw us. Maybe it's a particular topic, or if even an object or a subject or something happening in a moment. And it's just that moment of observing that a lot of things are revealed to us, a lot of wisdom, knowledge. And I think that that's quite key to also our healing and in this world, but also it's key to, it's not just that, it's also understanding, reaching deeper understanding of one another, of the world, and our connection and our responsibilities, actually, while we're here.
Indeed. This observation that you've been doing, when did this all come about? Have you been somebody who's always picked up the camera, or is this something that came to you maybe later on in life?
I think as I think I would always see myself as an artist, so it's a medium that came to me, I think, obviously later. When obviously the phones came about, I was filming and photographing, documenting things that I just interactions even between family members, or just fun moments of just wanting to kind of capture them, and it was I think from the age of 14 I had a camcorder that was lent to me for when I went away to Iran, and I really kind of just, that was my best, like with my buddy, kind of carried this camcorder around, and I was documenting the journeys and family and just conversations, and quite just playing about with that camera. But I kind of left it for years, but I was doing other things, like painting, and eventually it was just about 10 years ago that I just took up photography, and it became like I threw myself into it, and just traveling as well, and found that sorry, excuse me a moment. Sorry, my daughter just came over, and
I love that. It's balancing motherhood, your media life, and photography. You're living the life, girl. And I hope she's well, your little one. Folks, if you've just tuned in, you are listening to the Urban Kube Show. The time is 10:14, 23rd of June, and I'm joined by no other than the absolutely wonderful Sara Russell. She's a freelance documentary photographer and artivist, and she's joining us all the way from Bournemouth. She is Facebook Live. We are Facebook Live. You can catch her on Facebook. If you want to ask any questions regarding any of the topics on today's show, you're welcome to do so on 07779 481 822. The topic of today's show is why artivism plays an important role in social change. Now, are you somebody who likes to photograph, document things? Well, then Sara is the perfect person to listen into. She is a notable photographer, a documentary photographer who's photographed across the world, as well as locally and nationally. And her work has been exhibited in some remarkable spaces. Sara is joining me today to talk to us about her work, and also how artivism can actually enable and empower individuals, and how this can impact means of conversation. Sara, are you still there? Can you hear me? I think she went to look out for her daughter. Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Welcome back.
brilliant.
So, Sarah, we were just talking about your journey from, from the age of 14. You picked up a camcorder. You had the
Yeah,
opportunity to travel over to Iran
yeah,
and document experiences there. Where
yeah.
else have you
Um,
photographed or
so,
documented?
I mean, it's really the journey. Kind of, it's been kind of a pilgrimage, really, because everywhere I've been have been places where people are in devotion to the, seeking God, and peaceful places of like worship, and people congregations where people have gathered. But I found myself in these places where I'm just the only person standing. Like, it was a surreal moment. Like, I was
Mhm.
walking through a street, cobbled streets, just before Fajr in the Al Aqsa, in the Jerusalem, the old city, and it was so quiet. And where you would expect the buzzing of people going to pray, it was dead silent. There was no one but me, and I felt there was like a dream, really, when you're kind of just having to pinch yourself that if this is real, that you're there. And it was all just it's sort of that these everything all these experiences came to me, rather than me going to those places. So I've been taken to these places somehow, finding myself in solitude, but also realizing that in sharing those moments, it's going to resonate with a lot of us who feel isolated at times with our own in our own quest for having a balance in life, and um, finding how we can support one another as a community, because community, how understanding how necessary it is for us to nowadays we call it sort of the networking. So I find the creative um, kind of as it is a force for um, good, really, and if you use it in that way. For when I say use it, it's more like there's so much hope and so much light in a world where most people can feel that, in a way, that it's very unsettling when times are uncertain. But I actually feel that through the journey, I never expected. I know nothing. It was really that planned as such. Certain things that were like almost revelation. So I put my trust really in the path that's set. There's just to seek the light in that path, and there was always such huge there was such a huge gift to come across, say, a moment where unexpected, and to be able to capture it when it comes to the photography side. I mean, you've got like this one frame, and it's like, if I found it as like a gift to be able to have that moment, to
Ha-
share with, yeah,
and
to share.
has there been a moment that has
Mm.
been that you've captured that has resonated with you?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm saying that this sort of sense of oneness, it comes when what I mean by that is that you're there, and it's just this site where all the talking at the moment when I photographed the sort of Dome of the Rock. And it was, that day was very quiet, but other times you'll see a lot of chaos where there's military invasion of a holy site, and people are scattered, running, frightened and fearful because they've been attacked in the moment when they were seeking that conversation, to speak to God in a holy place, and it's been disrupted in such a way. The moment that I was there was just this, there was no one there, just myself, and this beautiful architecture of the golden dome, which is reflecting so beautifully with it was just literally the sunrise, at time of just after prayer, morning prayer time, and these birds just flying over, and it's the feeling of that moment that stuck with me. and I just always think that echoes throughout all the work I do, even if it's a demonstration. It's not. It's all about the peace in that moment. That when you're in the right place at the right time, and you're the moment of silence, and a moment where one must speak. Everything is speaking something, speaking volumes, and that's what I think the photos, for me, photography is about. It's word, but in a still.
And you're archiving that moment and
Yes,
enabling others to kind of experience that moment. It is quite surreal, just
yes,
listening to you, and it's really rather beautiful. I wanted to ask you, you spoke about demonstrations, and you have been
yes,
documenting a lot of the demonstrations
yes,
in London and around the country in
yes.
protest for Palestine, for Gaza. So what has that
Mm,
experience been like for you as a photographer in that
mm,
space of
mm,
hundreds and thousands of
mm.
protesters?
Yes, there is so much emotion in that moment where people are um, really trying to exercise their, just the freedom of expression, of being able to say, the biggest message was, we don't want to be um, complicit in destruction. We want to be with people who want to construct equality and the freedom, the true kind of expressing the freedom, but then experiencing that suppression as well whilst doing that. So in a way, everybody that in itself, the act is kind of is to defend and protect the right to express well very legitimate concerns with relation to where even the time that we live our lives working, and then obviously much of that tax, for instance, where does it go? So it's a kind of a big accountability when I see these people are coming, that everyone has coming with and everyone is in a different kind of, with the intentions are, there's a unified intention, but then there's also very different energies, and I kind of like to capture the um, the main messages, but also the pure raw emotion of humans that connects us all and kind of surpasses the othering, because actually it's been so beautiful to see people from all backgrounds, races, religion, uniting in with one commonality for humanity, and and then suddenly dialogue is accessible. People speak to each other, and we're also confronting our own inner prejudices that maybe we were not aware of. And I think that's what the beauty of the courage to speak when we should, for me, is part of our you know to confront the fear head on, when you were afraid to speak, but when we should. It's such a beautiful, necessary means towards progress. And obviously we talk about social change as well, but the change can never happen unless it's within yourself. We want to change the world, they say, but it has to start with confronting our own fears and looking at the rational means and in ways that where we can actually achieve that. And it does come from not knowing your own power as a person to um, that we there's certain rights we should exercise in order to get closer to that peace that we're looking for. There is a battle to be, there is a battle there to
Indeed.
yeah.
And I think this is something we want to kind of look into a little bit more after the break, Sarah. We are going into a break, and
Okay.
folks, I will be still speaking to Sara Russell. She is a photographer. She's she documents the most amazing, captures the most amazing moments around activism and just the most epic images that we're going to speak a lot more about. And we are heading to a break. Sarah will join us back, and inshallah we'll continue this conversation around artivism and the impact it can have on social change. Don't go away. Maybe grab yourself a bowl of porridge whilst you're waiting, and catch me straight after this. Assalamu alaikum.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
On the authority of Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, "The Messenger of Allah, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, during the night of ascension, I saw a group of people who were scratching their chests and faces with their nails made of copper. I asked, who are these people, O Jibreel? Jibreel replied, these are the people who ate the flesh of others by backbiting and trampled people's honor."
हज़रत अनस रज़ी अल्लाह ताला अन्हु से रवायत है, रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया, जब मुझे महराज कराई गई तो मेरा गुज़र कुछ ऐसे लोगों के पास से हुआ जिनके नाखून तांबे के थे और वो उनसे अपने चेहरों और सीनों को नोच रहे थे। तो मैंने पूछा, जिब्राइल, ये कौन लोग हैं? आपने फरमाया, ये वो लोग हैं जो लोगों का गोश्त खाते हैं, यानी गीबत करते हैं और उनकी इज्जतों को पामाल करते हैं।
Have you heard? Have you heard the exciting news?
What exciting news is that?
To celebrate their 60th anniversary, Ambala Sweets are launching their Dubai chocolate barfi from Saturday 24th of May.
So we can visit the Ambala Sweets store at 211 Dunstable Road in Luton and now buy Dubai chocolate barfi.
Yes, it'll be available from Saturday 24th of May and so much more.
That's fantastic. Don't miss out. Dubai chocolate barfi and many more tasty sweet treats at Ambala, Dunstable Road in Luton and all Ambala stores.
The perfect venue for your perfect day has to be the Barn Tea Green at Stony Lane, where natural beauty blends with rustic charm. With the stunning barn conversion, breathtaking garden room, private bridal suite and landscape gardens set within the picturesque Hertfordshire countryside. This unique and charming venue is ideal for intimate nikahs, mendis, weddings, other celebrations or business events for up to 200 guests with ample parking. For details, call 01582 800 222. Visit thebarnteagreen.co.uk or check out our Instagram at thebarnteagreen.
Had an accident, a bump, trip or fall? Then you need Claims Specialists, your first choice for accident claims. The specialist claims company on Dunstable Road in Luton. With excellent access to expert solicitors and on a no-win, no-fee basis, Claims Specialists use their 30 years experience to help get you the best compensation possible. For injuries at work, taxi, PCO and private hire incidents, road accidents and vehicle damage, medical negligence, plus rented housing disrepair. In short, when you need to make any claim, click on claimspecialists.co.uk or call 01582 733 222.
For specialist immigration services, the people to talk to settle a family member in the UK, M&K Solicitors. For all your legal solutions for family, personal injury, clinical negligence, civil and property law, M&K Solicitors. Internationally recognised, M&K Solicitors for local legal services you can rely on. Call 01582 732 503 or click on mnksolicitors.com. Your first consultation is free.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम किरण है। कोट कश्मीर ऑर्फन्स रिलीफ ट्रस्ट मेरा एक खूबसूरत घर है जहां मेरे साथ सैकड़ों यतीम और बेसहारा बच्चों की तालीम और तरबियत और पुरसुकून माहौल में परवरिश हो रही है और ये सब कुछ आपके तावन से मुमकिन है। अल्लाह से दुआ है कि अल्लाह करीम आपको सदा सलामत रखे और उम्मीद है कि आप इसी तरह अपना प्यार, मोहब्बत और तावन जारी रखेंगे। कोट UK ऑफिस 0300123774 court.org.uk।
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 10:30.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. It is 10:30, 23rd of June, and you're listening to me, Shemiza, on where else? Inspire FM 105.1 FM. We're going out to the wonderful people, Luton and surrounding areas, Peterborough's Salam Radio and Sheffield's Link FM. Hope you are well, warm and winning wherever you're listening in from. You've had a great weekend and having a brilliant start to the week. As always, I am delighted to be in your company, and even more so because I'm joined by a fabulous guest this morning, and is no other than the wonderful Sara Russell. She's a freelance documentary photographer and artivist, and today's topic is why artivism plays an important role in social change. And we're going to be exploring how human engagement and seeking liberation as well. So without further ado, assalamu alaikum, Sara.
Wa alaikum assalam, Shemiza. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you so very much. Now, I'm going to mention to everybody, Sara is speaking to us all the way from Bournemouth. She's not live in the studio. We are having a slight interference, Sara. So
Okay.
I don't know if you could kindly position
Yes.
your laptop.
Okay.
Yes, that's a bit clearer. Thank you. Thank you, my dear. Once again, thank you for joining us today, Sara. There are testing times in the world at the moment, in particular with what is happening in Iran and Israel, and the impact this is happening globally. And this is where I believe artists always are looked towards to find some solace and some reasoning. And you are an artivist, and that is somebody who fuses art with activism. How, as an artist, do you feel that artists have still the platform for freedom of expression?
Yes, there's obviously much happening with artists actually collaborating as well. And it's great. Always
Sara,
has-
you're cutting out a bit. I can't hear you clearly. It is cutting out. So
I'll go back to where I was.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Bless you. Sara's just making her way to a spot, and hopefully we'll be able to hear her clearly. If you
can you hear me now?
Yes, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, no, my mention was throughout history, artists have always played a huge role in the forming, the narrative, whether it comes to animation or photography has been the spark, if you like, for inquiry, for a very powerful, actually, medium, because it's not just an expression, but there's a lot of truth that can be portrayed. There's propaganda, much used through the arts, but when you are propagating truth, it's a very powerful tool. And actually, I think it's every artist's duty to be reflecting on the times, and their work should reflect that.
Indeed. And
yes.
So you as an artist, do you feel that you're able to explore your medium with the best of clarity?
Yes, it's again, you have these challenges if you're for instance, looking for, I found it very tricky personally, just my personal experience of finding the right kind of venue, the people who would be there's a lot of actual fear out there that people, that there's so many people losing credibility because they've decided to speak up against the genocide. So I think this is something very worrying in the sense, and actually telling that why is it that the voices are being suppressed when the message is, just that we're opposing the acts of crime against humanity. And so when you stand up as an artist to express this truth, there is going to be backlash because of the power of it. So I do believe that it's a very powerful tool to spreading awareness, but also to encourage others to step in and actually speak out as well in the way they can. Not just artists, actually just everybody. The artist plays a role in encouraging others to be on the path of truth and to stand in their way, and the way we can, like, to help to bring about the necessary changes that means we won't be necessarily enablers of these horrendous crimes that are happening in our world today.
I've just had a question from a listener, and they are, thank you, Aisha, for messaging in. Walaikum salam. Where have you exhibited your work?
So I had an exhibition recently. The last one was actually Bristol Museum. It was Palestine Museum, and it was very well received. As you, yeah. So I'm actually currently exhibiting. Going to be having an exhibition, inshallah, in London. But yeah, keep your eye out for that, because it's going to be very. Yeah, it will be a good exhibition with a variety of works that will be around the theme of liberation, sort of movement. It's going to be something that's just at the moment, and we're in the stages of putting together. So obviously the update will come, if Aisha wants to look out for.
Indeed. No, I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Folks, if you're tuned in, it is 10:37, and I'm joined by the wonderful Sara Russell, and she is with me all the way up to 11 o'clock, and we are talking about the topic of artivism and its value especially in the present time. Now, if there's anybody who wants to become a documentary or photographer, how can they go about that, Sara?
I say if it's a passion, there's different means, so many ways about it, but mainly it's just get out there, take pictures. I started off myself in street photography, so it's just, if you're at the sort of just documenting, just take photos, or and keep going. And I guess it's I can't really quite say how the journey would be for someone else, but I would advise, obviously, that follow that, and trial and error, but it's going to be quite personal journey in the end, when you're taking up photography as a storyteller, to portray something like what we were mentioning earlier. I find that the you have an intention, but sometimes it just unfolds, and you kind of learn what it is that you're drawn to, what it is that what you have to question all the time. You look back, and stories do unfold before you. You kind of realize how there's a pattern as well, and in certain what you're drawn to in the moment of, say, a series of photos. You'll realize there's something that you've been looking at all along, and that's in every single picture. So that's kind of, it tells you a bit about yourself. So it's kind of a bit of introspection as such as well, with when you're just out there without any kind of judgment, or that's how I go about when I go somewhere. I don't necessarily know what to expect. I'm just watching as things unfold, and I'm quite surprised later to see what it is that I've managed to sort of what caught my eye at that time.
Do you often get surprised by what you've captured?
Sometimes, yes. I mean, there's been surprising moments, such as, you know, once on a protest, somebody came along and there was it was from a lot of hate coming towards the crowd, and so it was a little bit of you know, I captured the moment that he was arrested, and so it's kind of a quite a very distressing moment. But at the same time, the way that it was reported was quite poor. That they didn't. It was very misleading. So when I found out the story behind, like, it's disheartening, really, when you see that the trusted media or the mainstream tend to stick to a set of rules. So really, it's not about telling the truth in the end. It's and I find that kind of is a huge kind of, it plays a massive role. The media plays a massive role in shaping our views with current affairs. Most people don't have the time to look deep into issues, but they just read headlines. So in the end, if you have an image of something like that, it's easy to manipulate as well, and kind of everyone will form a very false, you know, kind of opinion, like, you know, the marches are hate marches, but actually it couldn't be any more peaceful, really. You know, drawing people come together with love, and there's a real, you know, if there's anything we feel anger towards, it's the neglecting of and turning away from really serious situation. You know, a call of children saying help us. I mean, to excuse ourselves from doing our part to be their voices is kind of, it would be a huge shame on us all, really. So as an artist, it's a duty I find, and a journalist, to actually be involved and participating and spreading the you know, the courage and hope and the human story of how we can become stronger and closer to our, you know, the kindness and the compassion and understanding that has to increase. And it doesn't always come about just sitting in a bed of flowers and just switching off from the world. It comes from coming together and wanting for others what you want for yourself, and working towards that. That brings true peace. So that's what the work is all about for me. It's not should be far from the egocentric kind of drive. It's more has to have you have to have humility, openness, and a willingness to learn. And I say that my journey is not about what I'm showing others; it's what I'm learning, and we're all learning together. And I'm coming to finding such beautiful, you know, acknowledgement of the others, that other than the artist as well, like journalists and who report and also just the people who do, you know, like networking, and we're creating our own we're our own kind of the better world, and it comes from us. We have to do the work.
And sure, it does. And I think it's like an ecosystem you're creating. I wanted to ask you, Sarah.
Yes.
Everybody has a mobile phone on them, and we all think we're photographers. So do you think the, like, you know, like the Canon camera and like the camera industry has been impacted by this? Oh, I've lost her. Are you still there, Sarah?
Yeah, sorry, I had my mic on. I forgot to. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's even at weddings where everybody pulls out their mobile phone and starts taking photographs. And have you ever photographed at a wedding? And how does that make you feel?
Yes, it can be quite challenging because it it's also observing how so many people can't really enjoy those moments because they're constantly looking through their own phones and trying to capture it. In the end, what would they do with those? I mean, if you're constantly like I think it's important to have a balance in finding like moments we can actually enjoy and be present. But as a photographer, I kind of have to navigate around that. But it's fine. I just think that the phones have become quite a huge distraction for people, I believe, in a way, like a barrier as well. But at the same time, the world has changed, and everything can be a medium. You can use it for good or for it's finding that balance. Addictions have been all sorts is very not right for us, and plays with our internal kind of it can get quite cause a lot of increase in mental health issues as well. And I think that's just how we are as humans. We have to find the balance with everything, I would say, and generally speaking.
How do you gain a balance?
Well, I'm still working on it. But I think it's just that awareness and being conscious that sometimes, you're like, well, actually, I think I spent a bit too much time today on the, and you can lose track of time. And time management again it can be quite poor in the artist world. So it's about respecting the time and respect the time we have here, and what that actually does. What does it mean actually to have the value of like this life that we have, to value I'm so inspired so much by I have a Palestinian friend who's a photojournalist, and he's in all of his documenting demonstrations. He's always got beautiful photos of sunsets and just little moments of like the flowers and it's like that moment where it saves you from, clears your mind. It's therapeutic to actually really observe the moon at night, or the sunrise, or the sunset. And how often do we do that? How often do we contemplate in nature with reciting remembrance of Allah? And in those moments it really is healing and brings hope. It restores and replenishes us. And I think sometimes I find that the photography for me has been a means to really looking for that beautiful golden light, or the moment of where the little reflections and things, that suddenly the landscape is shifting constantly. And little is it we kind of look out the window when we're on a train, we're looking into our screen, into our phone, when amazing things are happening, right? If you would just look out that window, or even smile at the stranger that sat next to you and say, and the great conversations can be had with, say, a stranger on a journey. And it's quite impactful actually, and beautiful. And we might be missing quite a lot when we've got our heads in the phones and things. So I would say the balance is, I just engage with life more, and this tool shouldn't be dominating us. It should be utilized for, and we should still be in control of, like keep a tap on things. I think what we do in our time.
I absolutely agree with you, and I totally get what you're saying. I remember whilst going to university, traveling on the train, and the wonderful conversations I've had with strangers, and who are sat in front of me or sat on the side of me, and it was always an experience. And I think we only had like the Nokia phones then, that didn't have all this the camera, so forth, on it. Gosh, I can't remember what my first phone was. Do you remember what your first phone was? Sarah?
It must have been a Nokia.
Yeah,
God, that's
and,
telling, isn't it?
yeah, gosh, they were the good old days when it was just a phone, and that's all it did. You texted or you received a call. I actually had a pager, believe it or not. Do you remember them? Yeah, I had a pager back in the day before a mobile phone. Now I'm really giving away my age, but but a camera. Like, what was your first ever camera? I know you mentioned Canon, but were there any other cameras that you had? Do you remember?
No, I mean, I can't. I just know that. Yeah, no, that was just. I used that camera for a while, and I've stuck with Sony, really honest. But when it comes to the medium, anything could be. Anything works if it captures something. It's when it comes to documentary, it's not always about even the quality. It's just, it doesn't even have to be, it just depends. Like, you can be quite creative as well. And I think it's definitely made a comeback, the old the old cameras where you have to use a dark room, and and I think that's what I kind of find like so inspiring, where you can only take that, you've got to get that one photo right. I mean, but then you can only find out when you actually go to process them through the dark. The whole experience is amazing with the darkroom. I've had that back in the days when I was a student. So now we use Lightroom in the modern, the digital world. It's like a different, completely different world now, with the process of, everything's very kind of, you can snap away 10 frames, and then if in your photograph you can select those thousands and thousands of images. That, I mean, that's what I mean. It's kind of something to reflect on, and how technologies move forward, but how we still appreciate the importance of, like, being really selective and intentional sometimes, or just, it depends, really. Honestly, it's just, I don't think we've changed with the way what our needs are when it comes to
Do you think that is, the older we get, we appreciate the simplicity and the simple life, and there's an element of nostalgia with that? I mean, we are kind of being thrown in with everything seems to be AI at the moment. And how does that impact you as an artist?
I haven't actually. I kind of like to be the one that's really behind. So I don't really. I'm not rushing to catch up with these things, because it's secondary to me. It's but I can see. I'm looking into seeing how the manipulation of images, or the way that technology is progressing. Sometimes I've seen people have now I'm seeing there's conversations around concerns, but there's also people pretty much becoming like so excited about this, the possibilities of just appreciating the science, or the whatever, the technology of things, like, but also looking at the dangers of it. But in the end, that's how I find that technology nowadays is being really used for the dark purposes, like, and so therefore, I think simplicity is always something really good for us. For me particularly, I don't know if it's about that. It's not really about nostalgia. It's just that I think it's healthier to not let it be. I'm not excited about it, but I think it's good. I haven't got my head around it yet. Let's put it that way.
I think that a lot of people can agree with you there.
Yeah.
Do you have any social media handles that people can follow your work?
Yeah, so if you could follow me on, I'm on Instagram at the moment. So it's Sara Russell Photography, S, without the H with the Sara. But it's I've got all my sort of protests on there. My wedding work, because I do cover weddings. documentary wedding photographer, and family and family shoots I do as well. So that's just another page. But yes, for the sort of the protests and the photos and things I posted on that page. So it's Sara Russell Photography.
And it's been an absolute pleasure, Sara. Thank you for joining us today on Inspire FM to talk about your work and your thoughts around artivism. It's been super inspiring.
Likewise, Shemiza, thank you very much for inviting us, and I hope you have a lovely day. And the porridge, yeah, it's on a hot day.
Yeah,
I'm
interesting.
not sure. They need to change the day.
Of course, that makes a lot of sense. Folks, it is the end of the show. Thank you so very much for staying with us, and inshallah join me same time next week. Assalamu alaikum.